Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Chris.
With the Miniatures Rundown, let's take a look at the news of the day.
And today we're starting with Warmachine from Privateer Press.
Right, we got some new models coming out that will be at Gen Con. First is Magnus the Unstoppable and Invictus. This is a Warcaster and a Warjack. It's been a long time since I played Warmachine, and I only did briefly, so I barely remember what these things do, but it's like the guy casts spells through the golem, basically.
Well, he casts spells, and he powers up the golem with his magic.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, he also keeps the thing running.
Do they still use focus in Warmachine? I haven't played since second.
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll stumble through it together, but people who know the game, these cards may mean something to them. We know what things like defense might mean and speed and attack.
And he does have a rocket launcher and a scattergun.
You gotta love that. I think they're supposed to be steam powered too, the Warjacks.
Yes, they are.
They're both magical and steam powered in some way. They're also releasing a couple of troop starters. Now these aren't going into production until later than the Warjack and Warcaster we just looked at, but they will have some limited supply. So if you want to get these, they're telling us you need to get there early. They're going to have less of these. The first one is the Dusk House Callus. This is basically an army starter with troops.
They kind of look like bad guys.
Yeah, and they got the word dusk in it.
I mean,
suggesting
Helleth,
darkness. They are soulless.
She's got hell right in the name. Ghast light warjacks.
Dread. Yeah. We're doing great at guessing how this game works. Then there are the Brine Blood Marauders. They've got a piratical theme.
Yep. Looks like we got lots of trolls here.
Right. Let's move on to things we might understand better.
Wait a minute. So each set is going to be 200. Ouch.
Well, we get a lot of miniatures there.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they're calling them army starters, and I don't know if you need to add a Warjack and a caster to this or not. Again, I don't remember how the game works, but that's a lot of models.
They've already got a Warjack in there.
Have they?
Eidolon is a heavy Warjack. The Gas is a light Warjack, and this one down here is a Hordes, Warmachine Hordes, because they've got the War Beast instead of the...
I don't see a Warjack here.
Right,
they're bigger.
because it's using a Warlock and War Beasts rather than a Warcaster and the Warjacks.
Ah, so we do know more than we thought we did. All right, we spoke a little intelligently about it. All right, so now let's take a look at the next thing that's up for Legions Imperialis. They showed us
itty-bitty tanks.
Itty-bitty tanks. They showed us a few tanks that would come in the starter. Now they've revealed some more. They say that these are going to come out at the same time as the starter box or maybe shortly after the starter box.
I can't believe how much they're putting into these little tanks.
Right. There's a lot of detail and a lot of options, too. They come with a lot of weapon options and even this little plow thing, whatchamacallit, cow catcher. They call it something else. Dozer blade.
Yes. I'm a little worried that they're giving you options for the guns and the sponsons and everything. Mm-hmm. Are we going to be keeping track of these on a squadron level, or are we going to be giving track of these on an individual unit level?
Ooh, that's a good question and a good point.
Model level.
I knew what you meant. Squadron unit, yeah, versus a model. Yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that. Could be a lot of bookkeeping and mental placeholding, and if you've got my problems with working memory, that's a challenge.
Or maybe it'll just be big gun, little gun.
Maybe. BGLG.
Oh, Bane Blades.
Bane Blades are also going to be coming out pretty quickly. Also with lots of weapon options, sponson, turret, all kinds of stuff. You can also build, in the same kit, you can build it as a Hellhammer. By the way, these are going to come in lots since this is Epic Scale. The Kratos.
So 6 Kratos.
6 Kratos. I believe 6.
6 Bane Blades.
6 Bane Blades. Yes. And a whole lot of rhinos. These
10 of those
rhinos
in a box.
Yep. And they're going to act as transports. They said something that strongly hinted that objectives are either only held or maybe best held by infantry, even in Legions Imperialis. And so these will be important in getting your troops around the board to hold down objectives.
Yeah, I mean, does it matter if your infantry gets stomped into the mud by a Titan as long as you get those victory points?
Great question. I don't know. I guess it depends on how many victory points you get for Killy versus Standy. But those are some nice looking tanks. Nice tiny detail.
Yeah.
All right. And finally for today, at Warhammer Fest, they already revealed that the Cerastus Knight Lancer was going to be redone in a polystyrene figure. It's currently only available in resin. I think probably through Forge World, since it's resin.
Yes.
This, I believe, is still going to be a Horus Heresy model, but it will be usable in 40K with some similar model stats or something that I didn't understand when I read it.
Right. It's not going to be in any codexes, but it's going to have stats available so you can use it in anything except tournament play.
Well, they also said for this one that you could sub it for another model and it would be legal in a tournament. But unfortunately, I don't think I captured what that was because I didn't go into detail about tournament play in this particular write-up.
Well, I mean, that's proxying the model as something else with GW's permission sort of thing.
Yeah, I had the impression it was like, this is one you can proxy in tournaments because you usually can't do that. So anyway...
Yeah, because you were out yesterday, they got a whole list of things that you can proxy now.
Somehow I missed that, that detail about everything that could be proxied. Anyway, we've got some close-up details here on this model. They did show some of this at Warhammer Fest. We did know that there was going to be a pilot inside that you could see. I don't think we saw some of this detail, though.
That has to be painted right there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's...
You don't think this is in the sculpt?
I don't think that's in the sculpt.
The little screen? I don't know. This looks like shade.
The screen, yes, but the video on the screen?
Oh,
no,
sure.
no.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a little Jetsons city in there that he's looking at. What is this? Is this his control console? And if so, like, is this what the Princeps, or whatever they call them when they're knights? They're not Princeps when they're knights, are they? The operator. Is this in front of him? And if so, would anyone ever see this? Like, does this go on the inside of the model?
Well, the ones that... I mean, you have the guy in the cockpit, so
right.
It's going to be able to mount it with...
Right
like
there.
That.
But
so,
that's why I'm wondering, will anyone ever see this? Does this face him on the back of this plate and no one will ever see it?
Or maybe it is on... Go back up. Maybe it's on the hatch. Because it's got that same color.
So when the hatch closes, he looks at this.
That's what he's got. He's got the viewer right there at eye level.
So if you pose it with the hatch open and you feel like painting a Jetson city here...
Upside down.
Upside down. Well, you could paint it before you glue it on. Along with... lens flares and glare from who knows what, the sun of the world that they're invading, then you can do that. And he's got a little bit of a climate system here. This is nice. Maybe some AC comes through that vent.
It's not invasion, it's compliance.
Right. Salvation, even. Right? They're liberating these people.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. Well, that's all we've got for our daily news today. This has been the Miniatures Rundown. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us what you're going to paint on the screen of that hatch if you get the Cerastus Lancer.
A great big Baneblade.
Okay, well, question answered. But we look forward to your comments about that as well.